So this is a popular question I get. Harley, you don't know what you're talking about. You know, my blah, blah, blah eats Big Macs and he's lean as and eats like steak for breakfast and that. And they're lean as. How do you explain that? And I'm like, well, let me guess. They're 18. Because when I was 18, I was eating Big Macs too and I was pretty slim and pretty lean. But I was sick as fuck. I had no fucking energy and I was addicted to stimulants. And that's just the reality of it. So, and I was fucking depressed as shit. And I just didn't have the energy, man. But I was slim. So, yes, if you starve yourself and eat shit and run on caffeine, you can do a bit and be slim. But long term is what we're looking at. There's always going to be the exception. In the short term. But long term, we don't have exceptions because all the people I know now who ate junk food back in the day, they're all fat now. They're all fucking fat. And they're all... And it doesn't make them bad people. I'm just saying that if you eat junk long term, eventually it's going to catch up with you. It's either going to give you a heart attack if you're one of those people smoking cigarettes and thinking, all that vegan stuff's a load of shit. I fucking drink and smoke it. And you'd be one of those people, you know. Oh, I've never been sick in a day in my life. Drop dead, heart attack, done, finished. So that's just the reality of it. But if we look at the long-term paleo-primal authors, we'll see the majority of them are overweight. Doesn't make them bad people, but they definitely are overweight, aren't they? I've mentioned there's plenty of names out there you can mention. There's so many now. You know, I don't want to leave them out, but there's just so many now that are overweight from their paleo-primal low-carb diet. And they're writing book like Eat More Fat, Get Slim or something like that. It's like, well, you're fat though. How to eat fat, get fat. Yeah, that should be the title of the book. Go to Barnes & Noble with a pen and just cross it out and go, yeah, eat fat, get fat. And then slip an update of the person's photo in the book. Be like a software update, pun intended. So we all know people who eat shit and they're slim, but once they stop doing sport or they get an injury, they blow the fuck out, and then they do this crash intermittent fasting binge purge cycle back to try and get lean again. So I know plenty of people who go, I can just train it off. I was there myself. I said I can just train it off, but then I'd feel shit. My Crohn's disease got worse and worse, and eventually I had to say, well, fuck. Now I've got chronic fatigue. I have to look at my diet. The paleo diet didn't work for me. The primal diet didn't work for me. The low carb diet didn't work for me. I had to wake the fuck up and say, all right, what's going to work? Real foods, healthy foods, plant foods, low fat, high carb, makes sense. All the long-lived cultures, slim cultures, high carb, low fat. And the vegan thing, that just makes sense as well because when I rode past a dead kangaroo on the highway, it stunk of shit, maggots and disgust. And I said, I don't want to eat that, so I want to eat plants. Thank you very much. So just common sense, real food, eat real food, people. Whole foods, plant foods, fruits and vegetables are good for you. And yeah, you're going to see people who, in the short term, are doing well. But you don't see how fucking psycho they are. You don't see how drug addicted they are. You don't see how caffeine addicted they are. You don't see how they behave outside of the whatever, you know. You don't know what's going on. And you see them now, but you don't see them in 5 years' time or 10 years or 20 years' time. I've seen these people. It doesn't make them bad people. I've studied this for so long. Since I was about 8 years old, I've been obsessed with about getting healthy and fit because I was always sick as a kid. So I'm always looking at people. And all the kids I knew in high school that were fit and that, fucking none of them are fit now. I'm the fittest person from my high school, if we look back. So, you know what I mean? So I've gone from like the sick kid to the fit kid. So I've been definitely observing people over time. And I know plenty of people who are really good cyclists who could have had a pro contract racing Tour de France and they've got an injury and just exploded their weights, just exploded out. And now I can hardly recognise them. They're so fat. Still cool people, but I'm just saying that I remember back in the day people say, oh, look at such and such. He eats shit, Harley. He doesn't eat like you 10 years ago. And I'm like, well, you know, let's see what happens later on. And then we've seen what happened later on. 10 years down the track or 7 years down the track, these people have gotten almost obese. But my friend isn't there to see that now, you know, because my friend's doing something else. You know what I mean? Does that make sense? Like, you have an example there, you're having a conversation with someone and they say, look at that tree over there. That tree's, you know, such and such tall. That's all that's going to happen to it. But then they don't come back 5 years' time and see the tree's grown that big or the person's grown that big. They don't see that. They just have this little snapshot. They don't look at the bigger picture. So always look at the bigger picture and you'll never ever meet anyone. You know, all these people, oh, I've got a partner, he just eats whatever and he's always slim. Well, he's definitely, if he's eating shit, he's calorie restricting. Because that's just, no one's eating all they want Big Macs and staying slim unless their workload's huge. And then as soon as they get an injury, they're going to become huge. They're going to start gaining the weight because those foods you cannot eat and be slim long term. unless you have an extreme caloric expenditure. But again, like I said, you will eventually burn out, just as I did. I burnt out in the paleo diet, the primal diet. I burnt out on that thing. And yeah, I was slim for a little bit, man, but I was constipated as fuck, and I was moody as fuck, and I was just like, caffeine, 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 caffeine. So you will burn out. It's like riding your bicycle down the street with no hands. It's like driving your car at 300k an hour when you're 17 years old, and all your mates see you, you're driving past in your Series 3 RX-7 20 twin turbo or whatever, and all your mates go, oh wow, that was really cool, you know? And then you fucking go in the corner and you crash it, you ride it off, but no one sees it. They just see you going past going, wow, he was really cool. People don't see what happens later on. Does that make sense to people? Bottom line is there's no shortcut. There's no exceptions. There's no like, oh, well, I know someone who does that. It's like, there's no exceptions, man. There's like, people live a lesser quality life if they live on less quality foods. It's just how it is. Relevant to their own individual potential. That's just how it is. Like, you're always going to have people out there who will make you feel like, what's the word, you know, you might get disillusioned or whatever. But you got to look at the long term. You got to look at the garden long term. So many people are just like, you know, just real right now, here in the present. That's good, but it's good to have that forecast attitude. You know what I mean? Like, because so many people go out there and go, oh wow, look, it's all sunny today. I can just take my shirt off and it's all sunny. And they come home sunburned. They don't have the long term. They go, oh, my skin's fine now. And they get sizzled when they get home. Or they go out for a bike ride and they go, oh, the sun's pretty good today. Like, you know, it's not going to rain. And they go out and get hypothermia because the storm came in over the mountains. They didn't check the radar. They didn't check the bureau. They didn't look at the long-term forecast. They didn't look at the people eating that diet long-term. Look at all the high-carb, low-fat vegan people. They're always slim. No exceptions. Post who's fat on this lifestyle long-term. Doesn't matter how fit they are. There's no one fat long-term. Post down below. There's no exceptions. There's no exceptions. I've studied this a lot, man. There's no exceptions. It's just how it is. It's like there's no exceptions in the Tour de France of people who can go up a hill when they look heavy. There's no exceptions. And there's no like fat guy. Oh, he's the fat guy in the Tour de France because he's just fat, but that's just, you know, his genetics. It's like, no. That's just how it is. Everyone's slim on that lifestyle. Everyone's slim on high carb, low fat vegan, regardless of your fitness level. Some people might have more tone than others because they use their muscles more. You know, some people are slim but sloppy. Some people are slim but toned, but everybody's slim. So if you want to be slim and toned, then do sport and eat well. So I hope that makes sense. There's no exceptions. All the people you know who eat shit now and who are lean, they'll burn out, they'll blow out, 100%, no exceptions. That's just how it is. They'll be the ones who are freaking out in the meantime, addicted to stimulants and just having to have caffeine. There's no exceptions, man. Now post your comments down below and I'll do some more of these videos because this is a popular title, definitely. Thanks for watching. Want to learn more? Join the cult. We'll see you soon.